you can turn on your mic.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys. Yeah, still no Mr. T. Yeah, he is okay. He's just having problems with family problems down there concerning his brother-in-law, and so he has um, he has that problem that he's trying to deal with his brother-in-law being a very violent tempered person and carries a concealed permit, and he and them don't get along. He's just a little bit afraid to take and leave his wife um, by herself down there. And is he in Facebook jail? I think maybe he might be, Jack, but I'm not sure. Um, so you can try him and see. And um, oh boy, I'm tired. I had the gun show this Friday. Friday and Saturday. It was a little show, but I did real well. I have been virtually cleaned out of all my ammo. I started the year with, roughly speaking, 450 boxes of ammo on the shelf. And I think I have, that's factory ammo. I think I have maybe 2 dozen boxes left of various calibers. And all the stuff that I had been loading is gone. Maybe, well, I'm out of 9mm, I'm out of 38s. I got 5 boxes of 45 left and 5 boxes of 357 left. But I did pick up a bunch of brass over the weekend at the show, so I will start loading some of that stuff up because I do have components to do some of it, and I will probably I'll go down the list of gun shows here in a minute. Um, there's a gun show at Yankee Lake in 2 weeks. I don't think I'll be able to get enough stuff loaded by then. Um, Not only do I have to clean the brass, size it, trim it, and prime it and powder it and load it, but it also has to be boxed. And I have worked with showing my wife how to box the ammo, fold the boxes up and put it in the boxes this afternoon. And um, she she says to me, "This is kind of fun," and doing that. I said, "Well, that's fine. The more of those that you can do for me, the more loading I can do, because then I don't have to stop and do that." So. Yeah, Dave. Not complaining about the show. I did real good. Uh, so, and by the way, the Amish girls down there did a fine job on some desserts. My wife had now start the day off on Friday because we had to go down and set up Friday. We got up and we ate pumpkin pie for breakfast that my wife fixed from a pumpkin that we grew in our own front yard here a couple of years ago. And so we had that to finish it up, and that's what we had for breakfast. And we went down. Yeah, Jack, I used to do that, but I found that over a period of time the plastic bags get broke. So I found a place that makes repacked cardboard boxes at a very nominal price. So that's what I've been doing, boxing up, and it makes it a little more professional looking on the table too, by the way. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, we went and had our lunch down there, and they had a bunch of pies sitting out on the shelf. These are homemade pies. These are not store bought pies and heated up. They had peach, cherry, elderberry. I believe they had blueberry, and they had coconut cream pie. And
Just what every good diabetic needs.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I told the wife, I says, man, I got to try one of your pies. So I said, if they have the coconut cream, I'll take one of them. Well, they were out of the coconut cream, so I got an elderberry. And I will tell you, that elderberry was absolutely great and fantastic. And my wife, she had the cherry pie, and it was good, real good.
I like elderberry pie, but sometimes those seeds are a little
Yeah, well, I
little
noticed.
seedy.
I noticed when they with this the seeds. I don't know how they did it, but it didn't seem to be very seedy. Because I know exactly what you mean. Because I have to take and be careful of how I eat that because I get one of them seeds underneath my partial, and boy, does it hurt. Mm-mm. So anyway, then this morning we get down there and we decide, well, we'll eat the breakfast. They have sausage gravy on biscuits, and you can have it with eggs and that. And I said, well, that's what I was going to have was a couple eggs with the sausage gravy and biscuit. But then I saw, they had fry pies. Now I don't know if any of you out there know what it is, but I'll tell you what it is. It's pie crust that is folded in half and stuffed. So it's like a two-crusted pie. Not just like those things you buy at the grocery store, the cheapo things that they sell. Um, they had lemon and cherry and peach. Oh yeah, they also had peach pie yesterday too. And so we decided, well, I decided I would go with just a breakfast biscuit, bacon and eggs and cheese. And the bacon was genuine smoked bacon. It was not the store-bought bacon that we get that is loaded with 9,000 pounds of salt per square inch. Um, it was loaded. It was smoked. Boy, was that ever good! And then we tried the fry pies. Both mother and I got the lemon. She got the lemon. We tried them, and were they ever good? So we bought 4 extras to bring home, so that we could have one today and one tomorrow. But with the way things are going and the moisture in the air, the glaze coating that was on them was starting to liquefy. So we ate both pies this morning, or we ate all 4 pies this morning, I should say. But they were good. They were absolutely good. And I did absolutely fantastic at that show for the size show it was. And they had a good turnout for them. They had over, I believe, for both days, they had over 500, almost 600 people in that neighborhood, which is good for a small show. And that was only the second or third show that they had. So I'm hoping that hangs in there long enough for when I get to my show in April. And in that. So that basically brings us up to a speed on that for the gun show report. And, well, give you a little chuckle, kids. Me and the wife went in the ditch. Tuesday we had an ice storm and I had to go to the VA, and all the roads going to the VA were clear and wet, but clear. They were not slick, but they changed the routes on how he could leave the VA. And so I was in the process of trying to figure out how to get out of there with them changing things. And I had to go through a parking lot of a tool shop up there. And was fine going through the parking lot, but just at the other end of the parking lot, there was a little bit of a curve. and I was only doing probably 15 miles an hour because I was in their parking lot. And as soon as I hit that curve, no traction, absolutely nothing. And I went off, and it just took me right into the ditch. And fortunately, the wife and I weren't hurt. Neither was my car. Um, but the people there at the tool shop treated us real well. They come down and helped us get out of the car and took us up to the office so we could wait. And they called a tow truck and gave us some coffee so we'd stay warm. So we sent them a thank you card. I normally, when I get on ice, I normally put my vehicle in 4-wheel drive. Then that way, when you do something like that, you have a little bit of attraction to navigate the curves. But I didn't do that because, well, everything else was not slippery up to that point. Eh, so we slided away, but we still here to live to talk about it. So now let's go down this run down this list of gunny shows that are coming up. So you got your pens and pencils, papers, ready to go there, kids. Hey, Scott, push that button over there for on and off. Push it off and then push it back on. Yeah. Okay, push it back on. Good. Just leave it go. It'll come on. So our antenna is still giving us problems. I don't know if it's because of the cold or got water in the line again. But anyway, Yankee Lake at the Yankee Lake Ballroom, Brookfield, Ohio, February the 13th and the 14th. Then he's also got one coming up on March the 13th and 14th. The ballroom is not far from Youngstown, so consequently, and he's trying to make much money as he can. So, by the way, kids out in the market, you're going to start seeing all kinds of profiteering going on out there, as Jack alluded to last week. So again, February the 13th and 14th, March the 13th and 14th at the Yankee Lake Ballroom, Brookfield, Ohio. Okay. Next, February the 20th and 21st. I will be at that one. Venango County Fairgrounds, on Route 62, Franklin, PA. It's a 4-H fairgrounds, and it's a small show, but it's also a good show. I've been going there for several years now, and it's been really, 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 really good. And then Saturday, February 27th, Sunday, February 28th, Jefferson County Gun Show. Now, this is not Jefferson, Ohio. This is Jefferson County Gun Show, Jefferson County Fairgrounds, Brookville, PA. It's on Route PA 28. That's Brookville, PA. February the 27th and 28th. I don't know if I'm going to make that or not. Depends on how much merchandise I have left. Okay. March the 6th and 7th. Hermitage Gun Show. Hermitage, PA. Regardless of how much stuff I have left, I will probably be there because it is a pretty good show. And if I free up enough money, I can maybe buy some stuff to take to another show to sell, or buy some stuff to be able to reload some more stuff. But anyway, it's the Hickory Post VFW, Route US 62 east of PA 18, west of Mercer on 62. That's Hermitage, PA at the Hickory Post VFW. Again, that's the 6th and 7th. We're getting there, kids. We're getting there. Harbor Creek, PA, 20th and 21st at the Harbor Creek Fire Hall. Buffalo Road, which is US Route 20, Harbor Creek, Pennsylvania. That's up on the eastern side of Dreary Erie, along the lakeshore there. Harbor Creek Fire Hall, Buffalo Road, US Route 20, Harbor Creek, PA, and that is March the 20th and 21st. And next we have April the 10th and April the 11th, my show at Cherry Tree. We been doing this for a couple seasons now, and it's growing, and the dealers are always happy. I've already got reservations from several different dealers, so that's April the 10th and 11th at Cherry Tree Township Volunteer Fire Hall, Cherry Tree Road, Titusville, PA. And if you punch in Cherry Tree Township Fire Hall, that'll come up on the map, the Google map for you if you want to come over. It's not that hard to find. And the last one that I have for now is April the 17th and 18th at the Ashtabula County Fairgrounds, Jefferson, Ohio. Okay, that's the Ashtabula County Fairgrounds, April the 17th and 18th, Jefferson, Ohio. So if you're over there in Ohio from Cleveland or whatever, come on down and say hello. Maybe the last time we get to say hello with the way things are going. So, okay, I see the kids were talking about how much snow you got. Well, our temperature hasn't been out of the 30s for about 45 days now. It has been mainly running in the low 30s, but this week it's been down into the 20s. We did have some below 20 degree temperature here last week where it was like 13 and 19. Snow, we've had snow, but not as much as they promised us. Friday we were supposed to get anywhere from 2 to 9 inches, and we got maybe 2. And today they're talking about 4 to 6, and so far we only got about 1. So as far as the snowflakes go, it's kind of hard. Now tomorrow is February 1. And then Tuesday is February 2nd, Groundhog Day here in Pennsylvania, where little chubby Phil, Punxsutawney Phil was supposed to be given his forecast as to whether we're going to have 6 more weeks of wet snow or winter or not. Well, we usually end up with 6 more weeks regardless of what he says, but that's the way it works.
I've been told, I know this year would not be the case, but if you go down to Punxsutawney for around that Groundhog Day, it's like an insane, like Mardi Gras style party.
Yeah, it's about a week-long party.
It's just wretched behavior by all parties involved. Yeah. We should go some year.
Yeah, well, me? I haven't got enough strength in my hip anymore to walk across the yard. I'm telling you, that son of a bitch is getting so damn bad.
We'll get you a scooter.
Yeah. I see they're making saw it advertised one time on television that the people that make the compression socks and some of the other Copper Fit, I believe it is, has come out with a lower back and hip brace. And I don't know. I don't know if it's true, and I only got a glimpse of it because I was busy doing something else. Cannabis, you're right, Emmy, you're right. The House of Representatives wants all guns and ammo registered, and then they want a registration fee of, I believe it's I've heard two figures: $200 to $500 per gun per year, and then a separate registration fee per magazine. And as far as the ammo goes, they aren't necessarily going to register the ammo, but they are going to put an excise tax on it of somewhere between 30 to 50%, I heard. Um, so all I can tell you to do is get on the horn or get on your computer or handwrite a letter to your representative and just tell him if he votes for such stupidity, he will be out of office. And if your state, find out if your state has recall. If your state has recall, then start a petition to recall his ass. Unfortunately, here in Pennsylvania, we don't have that ability for whatever reason.
Would it have anything to do with us being a commonwealth versus a state?
I do believe it has to do with that, but
who knows?
Yeah. So anyway, get after that. Now, since we're talking about bullshit, I thought I would show you the new regulations on how to properly wear your double face mask when you're out in public now. As you know, they want you to wear two. So I am going to show you the proper way to do that. Don't I look so sexy? Anyhow. Yeah, a couple other things. Well, you got a couple. Got anything you want to blast there, Scott?
Oh, it's just you talking about the masks. Where I work, we have to wear various levels of PPE or personal protective equipment. And for the longest time, we were wearing an N95, and then we would have to wear one of those masks over top of it, with the rationale being that if, like, say, a patient coughs in your face, your N95 doesn't get all yucky. Only that will get yucky. Then you can throw that one away, and you can use your N95 for like a week. And that's how we were supposed to be doing it. Like once a week, you get a new mask. Mm-hmm. Well, we had state inspectors come in from the Department of Health and whatnot, and we were told in no uncertain terms that we are not to double mask. So it's all bullshit. Fauci says one day that masks aren't that effective. The next day he says wear 3 masks. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, you know, and like I've said, I know they tell people that the mask is supposedly not to protect them from you, but to protect you from them. So if they wear it and you wear it, then there's no chance of you getting it. But the only problem is the mask does not stop as much particulates as they think it does. That's why they come up with, well, maybe you need to
how many of these chuckleheads are even wearing their mask properly?
Yeah.
Let alone 2 masks properly.
Like I say, kids, don't forget, this is the proper way to wear your 2 masks. Hang one from each ear.
And also now they're coming up with a COVID test, an anal swab.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to do a drive-in anal swab there. When they do that, that's better than having stick up my nose for 2 miles. Yeah.
You know, and it seems kind of funny that, you know, a lot of these new tests are coming out of China. What did we have in this county about 10, 15 years ago that got shut down? It was a massage parlor that were giving happy endings. I'd be willing for one if the other, you know.
Yeah, hey.
Give me a swab, rub and tug, you know.
Yeah. It's massage parlor, you got to get every part of your body massaged. I mean, what the hell?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So
it gets weirder by the day, man.
Oh, it does. Oh yeah, kids. You're no longer allowed to refer to the coronavirus as the China virus. Trump signed an executive order banning the use of the term.
Biden.
I'm sorry. Biden signed the executive order banning the use of the term China virus. So remember, do not say China virus when you have somebody that's gotten the China virus, because Biden says it's against the rules now to say China virus, even though it did come from China and it is their virus. Okay, with the help of Fauci and Obama, by the way, because they sent millions of dollars over there to China to that facility to help facilitate this. And so Americans aren't as guilty free as you think, especially the Democrats. They are guilty of shit all the way up to their eyeballs. And the other thing that's got me perturbed is the news was making a big deal about how Mr. Biden is a Catholic. He's the second practicing Catholic that this country has ever had. The first one was John F. Kennedy. Okay, well, with the 2 executive orders that he has signed, and we'll get into one of the stories here about abortion. How can he, in good conscience, even consider himself a good practicing Catholic unless he is a good practicing Catholic on the Satanist side? That's it. I missed that earlier.
He's whatever they tell him he has to be for the moment.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he is just a... he's a puppet. Okay, in 4 days or 5 days of this, well, this is what, 11 days now? 11 days that he's been president, he's nothing more than a damn Chinese puppet.
But
okay. Oh yeah, and the Chinese want your DNA. So you need to start lining up outside the Chinese embassy in Washington so you can go in and give them your DNA.
I think you have an article about that here.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Well, I'm looking.
Yeah. So.
No, these aren't the ones that you.
Oh, right here they are. I'm sorry, Scott. I moved them. I done moved them. It's my fault.
Christ,
I done did that. I don't know if Biden knows what country he's in or not. It doesn't matter. He's in the wrong place. Even if he knew he was here in the United States.
You want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All righty. This is a quicken. I'll give these back to you. According to this here article, former Intel official, China wants to collect Americans' DNA. China could be looking to collect DNA of Americans and then use the information to monopolize or control critical medical supplies, a former U.S. intelligence expert says. Bill Ivanina, my apologies, the director of the National Counterintelligence and Security Center in the Trump administration, told 60 Minutes in a report to air Sunday that offers by the Chinese company BGI Group, largest biotech firm in the world, to set up testing labs shortly after the outbreak of the novel coronavirus were alarming. The state of Washington was the first company BGI approached, followed by 5 other states, including New York and California. It was so disturbing, Ivanina authorized a rare public warning that said foreign powers can collect, store, and exploit biometric information from COVID tests. Partially due to the warning, none of the states accepted the offer from BGI, which has close ties to the Chinese military and Chinese Communist Party, which the Chinese military and the Chinese Communist Party are about one and the same, right?
That's exactly it.
This shows the nefarious mindset of the Communist Party of China to take advantage of a worldwide crisis like COVID, said Ivanina, an FBI and CIA veteran. We put out an advisory to not only every American, but to hospitals, associations, and clinics. Knowing that BGI is a Chinese company, do we understand where that data is going? The primary concern of Ivanina and his colleagues was that access to biodata can lead to complete control over healthcare. If an individual's medical condition is obtained through DNA and other data, a government like China can take steps to control or monopolize the therapy or drugs used to treat it. From a long-term existential cost to our nation, do we want to do that? Do we want to have another nation systematically eliminate our healthcare services? Evanina asked rhetorically. That's what's happening. Concerns of China's control over supply chains reached a peak last year with regard to medical protection equipment such as masks, gowns, and other items. What happens if we realize that all of our future drugs, our future vaccines, are all completely dependent upon a foreign source? Asked former biochemist and now FBI supervisory agent Edward Yu. If we don't wake up, we'll realize one day we've just become healthcare crack addicts, and someone like China has become our pusher. The story added that many Americans already have given away their DNA by using genealogy services to learn their ancestry.
Well, if they set it up to where we have to start giving them our DNA and they do it through anal swabs, all I can tell you is if I'm still alive when that happens, I'm going to take as much laxative as I can before I go. So they want a sample, they're going to get a sample. I hope the shit all over them. Yeah, it's. I see here they're referring to China buying more farmland than Bill Gates. If you remember back, what was that? Bundy Ranch. Okay. When that was happening, what do you think that was all about? It was over China trying to buy that national forest or not national park area next to the Bundy Ranch because of the constant wind that blew there, so they could put up a wind farm. It was either a wind farm or a solar farm to collect electricity. So the Chinese, it's not new. They've been after it. That's what the Bundy Ranch was about. And who in the hell was it that was the father and son that were involved in that? Can't think of it. Was it the Bidens again? Could be. I don't know. So you kids out there in the chat room, you're pretty smart about that. Why? Maybe you can remember what. I forgot what I was asking about. Who the two idiots from our government that were involved in trying to sell that national park. So. China is pushing to become the dominant force in the world, and unfortunately, our government and the people that are running our government, Reid, that's it, Harry Reid. Thank you, Lemmy. I knew somebody out there could remember for me. I got such a good brain trust out there. I'm sorry I didn't mean to give it to Biden's, but credit to the Bidens, but 6 1 half dozen the other. And like I've said before, we don't have to worry about Chinese troops coming here to this country. Remember, I believe somebody said there's a Canadian government has 500,000 housed up in the West Coast in Canada, and there's something like 500,000 down in the southern border of Mexico, or down in the Central America, down near along the Panama Canal, which, thanks to the peanut farmer, he gave back to Panama years before it was due to go back. In fact, I think it was due to go back here just 2017. If I remember right. But anyway, that's close enough. Yeah, greed. So, all I can tell you, kids, hang on to your hats, because I have a feeling that something is in the wind. What's that?
I just thought of something.
Yeah?
the term hang on to your hats. Back in the day, they used to put those nice little straps on.
Yeah.
They don't do that shit anymore.
No.
Huh.
No.
That's why you have to hang on.
Yeah. Hang on to your hat, man.
Put a damn string around your head.
Yeah.
Then you got both hands to
like the Cowboys
touch yourself
had,
and shoot.
Like the Cowboys had when they were riding the horses, they'd pull the string down and tighten it up around their chin there, so their hat wouldn't blow off while they was riding. But you ever see the? This is getting off the point, I guess. But in the Western movies, a good old drag-out fight, how long they can go in a full fist fight without knocking their hats off. Yeah, and that. So, anyway, that's. Hey, close that door. Ghost.
That was weird.
Yeah. Maybe the way the building shifted in the mud. Yeah, they've been training in China. And don't forget the thousands of them that are already here inside the United States that work for the Chinese restaurants. Yeah. Kids remember what I said about when Mike was alive, we'd go about every 3 months to Chinese. And we would watch the employees. And about every 6 months, well, actually, it was about every 3 months we'd go. Some of them had been changed, and the next time we go, some more had been changed. The only one that seemed to be staying there the longest was the woman that was in charge, the mama-san, who must have been a good party commissar in order to be able to stay here that long. I don't believe she's there now. She may have. I haven't been there since Mike died, to tell you the truth. G.I. Joe says, I gotta pop over to LTR's Discord chat to announce that the show BRB. Be right back. Yep, that's right, Emmy. They shoot their 6 shots 53 times without reloading. You didn't realize that was not a 6-shot revolver they're shooting. That was a 53-shot revolver.
I recall it was shortly after I started spending time with you. So I was probably 16, 17. And I had come over for an evening. Maybe it was a gun show weekend or something. And we were watching a movie. It was set in like colonial times. And there was Native Americans and there was, mountain men, yada, yada, yada. But there was a big gunfight. And you pointed out that, mind you, it was set in colonial times. All the Native Americans had lever action rifles. And it just, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even pay attention. But
well, there's a lot of things. If you know something, okay, if you have a half a brain and you watch some of these movies, whoever does the technical assistance, it shows how stupid they are when they pull stupid stunts like that.
Or when you hear someone rack a shotgun and they come out from behind a boulder and it's a double barrel.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So.
You see that a lot more often than anything else. I wonder how soon it's going to be before guns are completely outlawed on television and movies.
Oh.
You know how cigarette smoking was pretty much eliminated on.
I'm going to tell you my personal thought on that. It will probably happen shortly after, if this bill passes, that they want to put the mandatory registration on. Okay, it will happen shortly after that, or shortly after they get these registrations set up, and we have several mass shootings like they always do when they try to put a bill through. Yeah, that. So hold on to your hats, kids. Shits are coming, and it's picking up speed. So anyhow, Ah, crap! I am so tired today. I loaded 120 rounds of ammo today, and I got another 90 rounds size trimmed and primed to load tomorrow. I was going to take the day and just rest, maybe even take a nap and sleep, but that didn't happen. So Emmy goes, it's funny, our Chinese restaurants hire Mexicans, but we can't tell.
Well, there's something to think about. As dumb as most Americans are, myself included, I am. I'm trying not to notice, color and whatnot. We're told that we're stupid white racists, so you should not see color. But like you were saying, there's supposedly, reportedly, allegedly, a gazillion Chinese down in Central and South Americas. What's coming up from the Central and South America right now? This onslaught of, and if you look at a lot of these videos, it's young, clean cut, well developed men with cell phones and shit like that.
And just a few women and children for photo ops.
Yep. It just, things that make you go, huh.
Yep. Well, they're being changed. That's why the Chinese are down there. They're training them to come up here and cause a bunch of bullshit, get free stuff, break the economy, break the back of the government. Yeah. Well.
Well, I also saw that they're bringing back the Obamacare initiatives and all of that. How much of that is going to be included in a DNA swab and things of that nature?
Well, they're already talking about the inoculations not being able to enter a federal building or fly on an airplane or anything like that, or use any public conveyance if you do not have the
papers,
virus
please.
Shot, the papers, please, that show that you have had the shot. And speaking of the shot, did you see we're up in Chicago, New York, and Californicators? They had to throw away 1 million doses of vaccine. Okay.
Why'd they have to do that?
Because it crossed the expiration date.
Oh.
Okay, you hear them bitching. Well, I can't get it. We ain't getting enough. But yet we have to throw 1 million away because we aren't distributing it. Well, why aren't you distributing it? Well, because we can't get enough. We want to give it to all our people, but give them what you got. Good God, don't be so damn stupid. If you've got it and people want to take it, give it to them. Quit rationing it out. If the people that are on the priority list don't want to take it, then give it to the next one. And I'm telling you, it's such a stupid bunch of people that are running our country. And I don't care what state, county, or whatever. They're just absolutely stupid, have no brains, cannot think for themselves, and probably don't even know which side of the toilet paper to use.
Well, use both of them. That way you get more effective.
Yeah. Conserve your toilet paper. Turn it over and use the other side. Yeah, I mean, I've never toured a factory plant to see how much ammo they turn over. But if you guys remember back in October, we did the story about a manufacturer out in Arizona that was $80 million behind on production. So figuring they could maybe make 4 rounds per dollar, 360 million rounds. And oh yes, something else for you to think about. The FBI announced that there was 20 million, that's 20 million new gun owners in the United States. In other words, that is people that bought new guns bought guns that they know of. So if You have 20 million people buying guns, and hopefully they were smart enough to buy at least 2 magazines and a couple boxes of rounds. You can easily see why it would put a hole in the pipeline. Plus, then with the other, well, they always claimed there was 80 million, so I guess now with the total being 100 million, uh, everybody started buying, so they can't keep up with it.
Hmm. And are these people that have like previously had never owned firearms before?
Yeah, that's what the
Did you? I don't know where this was. I want to say it's like in Wisconsin, out in the Midwest somewhere, because a gun shop that's promoting itself is it will not sell any guns or ammo to a Biden supporter. I got to look that up.
Yeah, you. G.I. Joe said hi, Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Dave Bowser says hi, Scott. Never mentioned the China virus here.
No China virus.
No China virus. Can't say that word, China virus. Don't let me hear you say China virus. Okay? Not even if you're playing Mother May I and they tell you to say China virus. Even if you go Mother May I say China virus, and she says no, don't say it. Because Biden will come down on you. He don't like you doing that. It shows disrespect for his authority, his dictatorship, whichever you want to call it. I got not to. We're going to change the flow here just a second, because I got to take a slam at a long-standing. I don't know what to call it. Long-standing entity called the Nobel Peace Prize. I have to jab them in the ass, and not with a DNA test stick either. Nobel Peace Prize nominees: Black Lives Matter tied to 91% of riots in the U.S. 9 in 10, or 91% of the riots in the United States, are linked to the Black Lives Matter. That is according to a recent study. The U.S. experienced 637 riots between May 16th and September 12th, and 91% of those riots were linked to the Black Lives Matter movement, according to the U.S. Crisis Monitor, a joint project at Princeton University. 49 states, not counting Washington District, or criminals, and they're not a state, so you can't count them, experienced riots during that time period. California led the nation with 86 riots during that time, and Oregon come in next with 79. The friggin' left coast for you. Black Lives Matter, a violent Marxist, aka communist movement that hates law enforcement, was just nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. The funding for the group is tied to dark money, and most of it comes from George Soros. So remember that, folks. You want to go riot? You want some money? Call George Soros, and maybe he will send you a couple of million.
But at least you didn't say China virus.
Well, I wouldn't say that because we weren't talking about China virus. These are Black Lives Matter. Now, if it was Black Lives Matter alias China virus, I would have said so. Yeah. BLM has a curriculum which, along with the 1916 project, is being thrust into all our schools. Ain't that the truth? Endorsed by far left National Education Association the largest teachers union in the nation. The nation's organized Black Lives Matter at School (BLMS) seeks a format of new uprising for racial justice by injecting their guiding principles into school. The concepts they embrace include globalism, Marxist social justice. Well, they have no idea what Marxist social justice is. Otherwise, they wouldn't be embracing it. Because if you think you're being treated bad here, you wait till the Marxist social justice gets going and you'll find out just what the fuck you're doing. Transgender affirming and queer affirming, and they plan to implement uh, restorative black, restorative justice and Black history, ethnic studies K through 12 as part of their movement. The BLM member who signed the general goals is Opal Tomenti, a communist with ties to Nicolas Maduro, a dictator of Venezuela. If you look at the so-called elite who endorse it, they are far left. The endorsers include domestic terrorist Bill Ayers. BLM is vehemently anti-capitalism. And Bill O'Reilly was the reason who put this story out. So, if the Nobel Prize gives them a prize, I lose all respect for that organization. I didn't have much for it in the first place because of some of the people that they gave the prizes to in the past. But
It's pretty hokey.
um, well, we only got a couple of minutes, and I don't really want to start anything until after we get back from a break. So we want to take our break now and come back in about 7 minutes. I'm not even going to try and play any music because I'm kind of whipped.
We'll be back in a
We'll
little
be back in
bit, folks.
bits.
Hello, everyone. Apparently, we are back.
Okay, kitties, can you hear us fine? I hope. Yeah. Let's see, there's something here I saw. Oh yeah, the fencing around the Capitol building. The Democrats want to make it a permanent fence around it, and I come up with it. I think that's a good idea. I think they ought to fence that son of a bitch off, and then go in with a bucket of red paint and paint it red and call it the new Kremlin, and then put guards around the outside and on the inside to keep all those assholes in there and don't let them out. Um, let them die off from nutrition, and we'll hold new elections and set up a new center and go back to the basis of the Constitution and um, oh crap, where was it going with that? Going back to the basis of the Constitution, I think it was the 17th Amendment. I may be wrong, but there again, I don't have my book in front of me to dig it. So you out there, kids, can dig it. Used to be the state legislatures appointed the representative to Congress. That way, the state had a limited amount of control over what was being done. And if the representative that they sent down there, he was like an ambassador. If he didn't do what he was told to do, his ass was pulled and somebody else was sent down there. And that's the way it needs to go back to. Okay.
What was the reason they changed it?
I wasn't alive back then, so I don't know, Scott.
Smartass.
No, really, I don't know why they changed it, but probably somebody sold them a bill of goods that the state legislature was spending too much time sending people down there because they weren't necessarily doing their job. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But that was the idea, that the one house that they would send a representative down there, and um, if he didn't do his job, he was bye bye American Pie.
Speaking of elected officials, do you see this craziness that a lot of the new Congress people on the left are saying how they're terrified of the GOP and they want their offices moved because a couple of the new Republicans decided they wanted to bring guns in, yada yada yada. When did everyone become such a bunch of goddamn sissies?
It started over the years. It started over the years when
I'm afraid of them.
it's that's the basic. It started when they started going after trying to break the bullying syndrome, teaching kids to be sissies and go run from the bully. Don't stand up and fight. Run from the bully. Don't defend yourself. Go get a parent to defend for you. But the parents can't lay a hand on him because he's a minor and he's an adult. So if he does, he goes to jail. So this is how they became turning people into sissies, and it goes right into the schools with the psychiatrists. Let's put it that way: when the psychiatry took over the schools, which is part of the Communist Manifesto on how to destroy a country or take over a country, get the psychiatry going and take over. Then everybody, oh, well, here's a pill so you don't have to deal with that. And then something else comes along. Well, here's another pill so you don't have to deal with that. So people have had the ability to work things out on their own, taken away from them. Somebody else is going to do it for you, but they never do. They only do a half job. And so um, that's my opinion as to when. Starting back in the 50s, they took the prayer out of school back in the 60s and took the Bible reading out of school in the late 60s, early 70s, depending on where you're at. And now they're even in see what state was it I just read? I think I did the story last week. They're not even going to teach about our founding fathers and the history of the United States. They're going to replace it with globalism. Okay. And if I was in that state, I'd be raising holy hell. Some people are trying, but they're not getting anywhere. And if that bill were to be passed, if I was the people in that state, every one of them, I'd pull my kid out of school and tell them to go suck an egg, and we'll teach them our way of what we wanted. Changed in 1913. Thank you. That's when it changed, 1913.
I get kind of irritated with these various teachers unions in the bigger communities, saying how unsafe it is that their poor teachers have to go back into class and teach because of the virus,
Yeah.
because of the not China virus.
Yeah, the not China virus, but the other name virus. Yeah, speaking of that, now that you brought that up, I see Foxy is trying to figure out a budget on how to bring, jumpstart the economy in this country or in this state. And I've come up with a very simple plan, Scott. You tell me what you think.
You never listen to me anyhow, but go ahead.
Yeah. First thing you do is you abolish property tax. Okay. Now, in my position, that would give me $3,000 a year more to spend on goods and services, which would then increase the amount of sales tax that they would collect. Now, that's just one person. If you do that for, say, 5 or 6 or 7 million property owners, you abolish that, you won't have to come up with any real funding thing. If you need to do anything to fund the schools, because that's where they're complaining, that's where the money goes, is if you have to raise the sales tax by 1%, I'm all for that. Okay, but here's what you do. The school has 900 students. You get X numbers of dollars for 900 students. And you will live within that budget. If you can't live within that budget, then you're overpaying the teachers. And besides that, right now teachers are being overpaid because they don't teach. Computers are doing the teaching.
Yep.
And it's a hell of a thing to pay $50,000, $60,000 to have a room monitor sit there and watch the kids do their lessons on the computer. Okay. So that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And of course, it'll never happen. But because they don't want common sense. They can't. Well, that ain't going to work because we got to throw billions of dollars at it so we can tax you more for it. No, if you want to spur the economy, you cut the taxes. Haven't you learned that? Every time they cut the taxes, the economy grows. And so, okay, enough of that foolery. Seeing as how it's funny how things are lining up tonight. Seeing as how we were talking about taxpayers, and this comes from, WorldNet Daily, and it's commentary by Todd Starnes. It's called "Taxpayers Now Funding Global Abortions, Blame Never Trumper Evangelicals." Okay. The Biden administration announced that American taxpayers will now fund the killing of unborn babies, not just in Mexico, but around the world. It will be our policy to support women and girls' sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights in the United States as well as globally, said Dr. Anthony. Wow, how about this one? Fauci, where have we heard of him before? During his remarks at the World Health Organization Executive Board meeting last week. Pro-life advocates groups are rightfully disgusted by the president's erroneous actions. President Biden's memo rescinding the so-called Mexico City policy on the eve of this year's March for Life is deeply disturbing move, especially when the president says he wants national unity, tweeted Gene Mancini, president of March for Life Defense and Educational Fund. President Biden, dictator. Can't say president anymore, we gotta say dictator. That's an executive order for me. Dictator Biden is returning to the pro-abortion policies of Barack Obama, a nation, and forcing taxpayers to back into partnership with overseas abortion industry, said Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. The abortion industry is well known for relentless pursuing taxpayer dollars and will exploit any opportunity to grab U.S. taxpayer money. With this action, Dictator Biden is throwing aside any notion of uniting or healing America's political divisions and is demonstrating that unity means conforming to the goals and principles of the left, communist, Perkins added. Marxists and the Knights of Columbus released a poll showing 58% of America oppose or strongly oppose using taxpayers' dollars to support abortion that include a majority of independents, 65%, and 31% of the Democrats. The majority of Americans, 77%, strongly oppose taxpayer funding abortion in other countries, including 64% who identified as pro-choice. But Dictator Biden promised abortion industry that he would use taxpayer money to fund international abortions, and he delivered on that promise. I don't blame Dictator Biden. I blame never Trump Republicans. I blame woke evangelical Christians, including the Southern Baptist Convention Ethics and Religious Liberties Commission and liberal Catholics. Yeah, now you're getting the idea, the picture of how far this rot has got. They knew what would happen if the Democrats gained power, but the never Trumper evangelisticals were so triggered by the former president's Twitter feed, they made a deal with the devil. The Orange Man Bad crowd, was willing to sacrifice the lives of unborn babies so long as it meant the political destruction of Donald Trump. Mission accomplished. On Sunday, many of those woke evangelists will ask on bended knee to bless our nation. They ought to be asking God for his mercy and forgiveness. This is a new phase of what is being done to destroy the religion and the morals of our country. It has gotten to the point where the I don't even like using the word liberals. It's gotten to the point where the commies have penetrated the church and the church councils and are bringing in their wanton, willful, sinful ideas and ways of the devil and pushing it to all the congregations out there to accept it. And that goes way back when they started with the gay marriages and same-sex marriages or whatever you want to call it. Right then and there, the churches, the individual churches, should have stopped funding. I repeat, should have stopped funding the councils. Stop sending money. And once you hit them in the pocketbook, they'll come crying back. Well, we don't want that group. We don't want you back. You started this, and this is the way it's going to work. And so Dave Bowser said, hit that button, Scott. Did you send him something? On here, I got a chat that says, hit that button, Scott. W. Maybe that was when I was telling you to do that. Anyway.
I just downloaded a joke off of the internet.
Oh, good. Fire away when ready, Gridley.
All right. Please forgive me, any ladies out there that may be offended. A brunette goes into a doctor's office and says that her body hurts wherever she touches it. Impossible, says the doctor. Show me. She takes her finger, presses on her elbow, and screams in agony. She pushes her knee and screams, pushes her ankle and screams, and so it goes. Everywhere she touches makes her scream with pain. The doctor says, "You're not really a brunette, are you?" She says, "No, I dyed my hair. I'm naturally blonde." "I thought so." He says, "Your finger is broken." I used to hammer my sister with blonde jokes all the time because she's as dumb as a stump. And she's not even blonde. She's just dumb.
Well, I've met some pretty smart women, but I have to say the number of smart women that are blonde has been kind of, that's probably why they got that reputation. Sorry, Emmy, I hope you're not blonde. If you're as old as I think you are, you're probably more gray than whatever you were before, but that's okay. We all get that way.
Did you pay any attention to that GameStop craziness earlier this week?
Yes, I have no idea what the hell it was all about.
Well, here's what I kind of know. These hedge fund people, these billionaires, they bet, they short. They'll find a stock that they think is going to lose money, and then they'll bet on it. And then when it does lose money, they'll buy it and resell it and make a gazillion dollars. Well, there was a group that found out about them trying to short sell, or whatever you want to call it, GameStop. And they all banded together, all these internet trolls in their basement, and started buying this stock. It went from like $52 to $400 and some dollars.
That I heard.
In like 2 days.
Yeah.
Got to the point where these billionaires who had bet that this stock was going to lose money lost their ass. Like some of the statistics I've heard is like $40 billion had been lost, to the point where they had to shut down trading and all this. And one of the big things that they've been talking about, is like the various podcasters and whatnot, is it's the very same people that abuse the system, and they never, ever, ever, ever want more regulation, are screaming that this needs to be regulated. Mm-hmm. Because
they got their asses fried. They
got their asses handed to them. And this one, I forget the name of the thing. It's called wallstreetbets.com. It was the website that everybody went through to like start buying this stock. And then they started buying stock for other places. And they shut they shut the whole stock down, or the whole website down, which to me, I mean, it's very telling that these billionaires, like 4 out of 5 of them donated to Biden and all the Democrats. And now all these Democrats are saying, "Oh, well, we have to look into this. The SEC needs to get involved with this." But not before, when these guys did exactly the same thing and cost you and I and everybody else who have like 401ks and 403bs, they caused the big hotel shortage. And here's something else that I saw on the internet. I don't know if this is true. On January 24th, Nancy Pelosi bought $1.25 million in Tesla stock. On January 25th, President Biden signed an executive order mandating that all government vehicles go to electric. Tesla makes electric vehicles. That sounds to me like insider trading. Maybe that should be looked at.
Yeah, well, let's see.
They're never going to do it.
No, they won't because it's Democrats. They're crooked as a bunch of assholes you ever thought of. Well, they're money grubbing communists.
Rules for thee, not for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I think I broke it down as best that I kind of understand. It's just essentially what these billionaire assholes were doing for years and years and years. It got turned around on them, and now they're screaming foul.
Bloody murder, yeah.
Boo-hoo. That ain't right. You
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah, they and when you do use their own rules against them, then they change the rules. See, now this group used their rules against them, and now they want to get a regulatory agency involved in it to regulate this stuff. And so anyway, where was it going next?
I don't know. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine because we just got about 35 minutes, and if I get done with all these.
Okay, I got a gun question, and maybe you know the answer, maybe they don't. For me to own a legal fully automatic weapon,
Yeah.
I have to go through and get the stamp through.
Right.
But the weapon can't have been manufactured before, like the 1980s or something like that.
Yeah, 1986, I think, or 84.
What was their rationale of picking that date?
That's when the 1984 gun laws came out, in which they started the mandatory background checks and other hicky things. So
I just thought it was odd that they picked a
they
date
were
like
banned from sale unless you bought a license back in 1930s, because the gangsters were using the Tommy gun to shoot themselves with, and people thought it was, my God, it's violence. They're shooting each other and they're using machine guns. Well, if the gangsters keep themselves busy killing each other off, maybe they'll leave each other or leave the rest of us alone. I don't know. Just like somebody was saying here, one of the kids in the chat, that they ought to make it a permanent fence. And that's what I was referring to. Yeah, make it a permanent fence and put guards on inside and outside, and don't let them out. Keep them in there. They have total disdain for the military. Why? Because of the way they treated the military, but they wanted them there in case for the inauguration, because they were afraid.
Just in case the dirty peasants got too close.
Yeah, the peasants and the pitchforks got uppity again. But then what did they do with them? Instead of finding them some decent accommodations, they put them in parking garages throughout the city to sleep on concrete, of all things. And that. If they're going to put them there, then bring in a bunch of cots. Let them bring in cots to sleep on. At least get them up off the concrete. Right? And all the pictures that showed where they were sleeping, there was not one goddamn cot that I could see. And so it just shows the total disdain of the party for the military.
That reminds me of a line from what was that movie with Clint Eastwood? He was a rough and tumble Marine that gets brought in.
Heartbreak Ridge.
And he was part of the old school military, and his commander, his captain, was the new way. And he's like, it's soldiers like you that should be kept in the Pentagon under glass and or kept in a cage and basically let go when the need arises.
Yeah.
And then locked back up again, because people like you aren't acceptable in today's new modern military. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, it's a movie. It's tongue in cheek.
It's a movie. It's tongue in cheek, but There's a lot. Sometimes there's a lot of truth to what's in those movies. Remember what I've been saying for years. Hollywood will make movies telegraphing you what's coming down the pike in the future. And
Think about all those zombie movies 10 years ago.
yeah.
You know, the big virus that came through and messed with everybody. Well, what do we got going on now?
Hmm.
You want some more water?
Yeah, I can use some more.
And you start bringing you your own goddamn canteen.
Well, what's causing me a problem is this. That's all I need right there. Is this spike punch that you brought me? It's sitting there telling me to drink it, and I'm saying no, I don't want to drink it because I need to be able to walk up to the house.
That'll put your dinghy in the dirt. That's for sure. Didn't young Randall have a?
Yeah, we bought him one about that size, but only it was like 12% instead of 8, and he got hammered on it just this last summer when we were up there at the camp. So yeah, he got hammered pretty good on it. I've seen that kid be able to drink quite a bit, but
Sometimes that malt liquor gets right to your head.
yeah, it does. And if you haven't eaten,
That's even worse.
that it makes you get there even faster. And that so okay. I have one here, and this is by Patriot News.
Oh, wait a minute. I just thought of something.
Yo,
When the door popped open,
yo,
I figured what it was.
Layla.
Layla.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it was.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Okay. Patriot News. Unhinged Democrats inciting next civil war by moving to ban Trump supporters from getting jobs or joining the military. Okay. Well, what are you going to fill the military ranks with if you need people to fight a war? More of your liberal, communist, bitch, transgender, faggot bastards out there?
Notice he didn't say China virus.
Nope. Nope. That's because they've all been inoculated against the China virus, so they won't get it. See, as they are known to do, Democrats are exploiting the riot at the Capitol building earlier this month as an opportunity to target their political opponents, mainly the 75 million Americans who voted for President Donald Trump in the November election. By now, everyone with a functioning brainstem understands that regardless of who took part in the Capitol incident, they were not reflective of indicative of former president supporters. At the rally, after the rally, during the 2016 and 2020 campaign cycle, as his supporters were targeted by Antifa and Black Lives Matter thugs, they never responded in kind. None of Biden's bigger allies or bigger rallies were ever disturbed or molested by supporters of the ex-president. But none of that matters. Democrats now see the riot as a means to an end, getting rid of Trump and Trumpism once and for all, because if he and his supporters are allowed to continue functioning in society like every other American, there is a good chance that either the former president returns to successful win the White House in 2024, or his hand-chosen MAGA, Make America Great, successor will. Related, the FBI spent 80 years creating domestic terrorism. Now they will target 80 million voters by labeling them terrorists. Well, I've already been labeled that, so, okay, let's see. I lost my point. Oh, Big League Politics report that Democrats' game plan is to simply decoup Trump supporters from their own country and society. In other words, they want us out of here so they can bring in their be red or dead plan. As conservatives and members of the MAG movement in general continue to be ostracized by the mainstream media and established politicians for events that unfolded on January 6th, members of Congress are moving to further compromise the lives of those who weren't even involved in the infamous siege. While many Trump supporters have been quietly disposed of by their employers, this has largely been a policy of businesses to choose with whom they want to associate with a privately owned company. However, according to Representative Stephen Murphy, Democrat from Florida, supporters of Donald Trump should be barred from the public sector as well. Murphy, a member of the House Armed Services Committee who came to the U.S. from her native Vietnam, go back, as her family fled the communist regime in 1979. Your family fled, so now you want to come here and put it here in this country, you communist bitch. Is behaving much in the way the communist world. She has proposed legislation that bars anyone associated with the Stop the Steal movement or who believes in the QAnon. I never understood what that was. Conspiracies for being able to get a security clearance, which would prevent them from joining U.S. military, where clearances are required, as well as hold a number of federal jobs. Remember, when Democrats like her believe in the fake Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy, many Republicans, when they were in the majority, should have proposed and passed legislation barring any Democrats who bought into the BS from getting clearances from federal jobs, who needs those hack jobs, right? The legislation titled the Security Clearance Improvement Act of 2021 requires applicants looking to obtain a new or renew their federal security clearance to disclose if they participated in the January 6th rally in Washington or another Stop the Steal event, or if they knowingly engage in activities conducted by an organization of the movement that spreads conspiracy theories and fake information about the U.S. government, the left-wing Daily Beast reported. This bill is actually unconstitutional because it specifically targets as discriminates against president's supporters, meaning they are being persecuted for their political views. It doesn't get any more anti-American than that, but really, when have the Democrats ever cared about the Constitution, unless, of course, it works to their advantage? One Twitter user hit the nail on the head. Basically, if you question what the government does, we won't let you see what the government does. No doubt this won't be the last effort by the Democrats to capitalize on the riot. There will be additional efforts to deperson Trump supporters and deny them basic civil rights over the fabricated claim that they are a national security risk. Yeah. Okay. Here's the other one. That's why I thought there was too many. Anyhow, separate that. Give that one to Scott if he wants to do it.
Well, I want to know how serious that. I mean, a lot of times the various senators and people of that nature put forth these wild bills, knowing full well they'll never get passed, just to get their name out there and to cause a stir. How real of a threat is this? Because people need to stand up. I mean, there's like Rand Paul and other people of that constitutionalist type ideology. You know, I'd hope they'd be standing on someone's desk saying, "Hey, no, we can't do this."
Well, they probably won't. You look at that and see if you may be interested in doing that one. Why? There was such a thing as blacklisting, and it was forbidden in this country. I don't remember when or how it came about, but blacklisting was forbidden in this country. And I know there was something said about it when the hearings in the 50s and 60s were taking place in Congress.
A lot of it, that goes back to when, like, you know, in these mining towns, that when they tried to bring in the unions, the like, you know, I think that was back around the early 1900s.
Yeah. So,
all right, you want to read this?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from Newsmax. GOP Oregon mayor blasts Portland unrest. What defund police movement looks like. A Republican mayor in Oregon painted a violent picture of the defund the police movement on Thursday, pointing to recent rioting in the state and elsewhere. This article was written on Thursday, January 28th. In remarks on Fox and Friends First, Mayor of Sandy, Oregon, Stan Pulliam, decried unrest in Portland after the inauguration. Obviously, all of us have just watched in horror as the violence and destruction has taken over the city of Portland, and quite frankly, this is what the defund the police movement looks like, Pulliam said. We have Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, who 1 week ago gets punched in the face by a citizen, he continued, and then just earlier in a segment on this very show, he's put to having to pepper spray others. This is what the culture of criminality looks like. The lack of consequences, unfortunately, just leads to and incites more violence. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, when asked Monday about the riots in Portland as well as in Seattle, Washington, said President Joe Biden condemns violence and supports peaceful protests, adding that smashing windows is not protesting and neither is looting. President Biden condemns violence and any violence in the strongest possible terms, she said. Fox News reported peaceful protests are a cornerstone of our democracy, but smashing windows is not protesting and neither is looting. And actions like these are totally unacceptable. More than a dozen people were arrested in the two cities after demonstrators angry with Biden targeted government buildings in the Oregon Democratic Party building in Portland, Fox News reported. There you have it.
Yeah. And I was seeing in relation to that, there was a member of the state legislature in Oregon that was appalled at the amount of crime that was going on. I think that's what brought that report from him, because she was a supporter of defund the police. And she was appalled at the amount of violence that was going on. Well, you take the police out of the equation. Remember, a lock on the door only keeps the honest people out. Okay? A lock on the door only keeps the honest people out. The police were that lock. You take them away, even though some police aren't worth a pile of shit that they came from. They are the lock that supposedly keeps you safe. Some of them do a real good job, and some of them are just as much a problem as the criminal. But be that as may, you want to do away with the police, then you better be willing to accept more criminal activity and more threats to your person. And that. Otherwise, get off the damn defund the police and go down and see what you can do to help the police. Go down and grab a hold of your son or daughter by the ear and kick them in the ass all the way home, like that one woman did years ago when her son was, I think it was over in Jefferson. Um, when he was going down to participate in a riot, she went over and grabbed him by the ear and hauled his ass all the way up the home, holding on to his ear. That's what needs to be done.
If there's no way to hold people accountable, they're going to do whatever the hell they want when
That's
they want
right.
to do it.
Yeah. If there's no punishment, then they're going to go and do what they want. And there's nothing there to stop them from hurting somebody. And like I've always said, your constitutional rights are only extend until you inflict harm or damage onto another, and then your constitutional rights stop because you're interfering with his constitutional rights. So,
But I guess as long as you're a Trump supporter, you don't have any constitutional rights at this point.
well, that's basically what it's boiling down to, and I'm wondering if that's why I didn't get my stimulus check. Speaking of which, I got on the internet and I pulled up my internet tax firm that I use to file my taxes because I don't owe any because I don't make enough money to be taxed. And on the form, it had a question. Very vague, but to the point. When I say vague, it doesn't say, did either you or your wife receive the stimulus check, one or two, or whatever. It said, did you receive your stimulus check? Well, I did not receive my $600 stimulus check. So I put that on there that I did not receive it. And so they proceeded to go through and figure out what was going on and come back and says, you're entitled to a $3,600 refund. And I don't think that's right. I personally don't think it's right. But there's no way to get in there and correct it because it was a very vague statement. So I imagine the IRS will catch that when they go through and see what checks we got and which ones we didn't, and reduce that down to $600. But anyway, but I see there is a compromise being worked out with El Dictator, Biden, and the Republicans in the Senate, where they agreed to allow, or willing to agree to allow the third stimulus check to come out, but they have to cut some of the money out from some of the other stuff. So then this is basically precisely what Trump was trying to do at the end, was get the other stimulus check out, but make it a one item deal. We'll take care of the stimulus check and then we'll work on the other stuff. Because putting the money in the hands of the people, they're the ones that are going to spend it. And when they spend it, that puts people to work because somebody has to make the merchandise or product that they're buying. And so it's not an IQ test to figure out what's going on. So anyway. Gosh, I'm tired. I'm sitting here looking at the screen, and next thing I know, I go blank. What the hell am I doing? Okay. All right, kids. San Francisco makes the news again. This is out of Newsmax.com. Thursday, January the 28th, so it's a fairly fresh story. It's a short one, but we can chew on it. Online petition has gotten more than 7,600 signatures protesting the San Francisco School District's move to rename 44 local schools, including those honoring George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Thomas Jefferson. The district's controversial decision, first reported in the San Francisco Chronicle in October, aims to dump the names of presidents and war heroes with ties to racism or oppression. A vote is set for April the 19th. Now, I'm going to inject something here. Abraham Lincoln, wasn't he the one supposedly gave or granted the Emancipation Proclamation to the slaves? Why would he be classified as a racist or anything else? Think about it. Lope Yap Jr., Vice Lope Yap? What the fuck's he yapping about now? Do you ever hear anybody by the name of Lope Yap?
Nope.
Nope. No. Okay. Lope Yap Jr., Vice President of San Francisco's George Washington High School Alumni Association, told the New York Post he is hoping public pressure could influence their process. If they get enough backlash, they might reconsider, he said. Along with the petition, hundreds of schools' alumni have written letters to the school board bashing the choice to yank down the names and figures of ranging from the Revolutionary War hero Paul Revere to Senator Dianne Feinstein. We feel that whether socialist, conservative, or independent, if you want our truth in history, politics needs to be put aside. Yep, told the New York Post, we don't want these things erased. Remember what I have said. If you want to destroy a country, there are several things that you have to do. Get rid of the borders. Stop having a common language and erase history. Well, how do you erase history? Well, you start not teaching history in schools like they want to do up in it's either Michigan or Wisconsin, where they don't want to talk about the American Revolution or the Civil War or even World War One. Okay, and you do this. You destroy any historical salutes or monuments or testimonies to any of the people that in history that did something good, bad, indifferent, whatever you want to call it. You destroy your history and your culture. You gain control of the children by brainwashing them through psychiatry and drugs. You get the kids to get hooked on sports and sex and gender identity questions. And then you hit the economy with all the EPA regulations, environmental protection. When we are following it, we are only putting out 13% of the pollution in the world. The other 90 or 87% came from the rest of the world, with the biggest monster, China. Then Europe come in next as the next highest percentage. And then the rest of the country, rest of the world. So that's how you destroy a country. The EPA makes it so regulations makes it so cost ineffective for new businesses to start up, because they have to do this, that, and the other thing. They have to stand on one foot, touch their nose with their toe from the other foot, and if they can't do that, they won't get their permit to dig a hole to piss in. So, anyway. Yep, that's right, Uncle Bob. I do believe it happened at the same time as the Federal Reserve System, about the representatives being changed from being appointed to elected. Yeah, and income tax at the same time. Yep, you're right, Emmy. You kids are so smart. I know if I get in here and start something or get asking some questions, you would all come up with the um, answer. Yeah, I see that GI Joseph 11 watching and only 9 likes. Well, hey, if we got 9 likes, get them. If you're watching this show and you like it, even if you don't ever intend to come back, go to the thing there and subscribe to it, because then it'll give you a notification of when we'll be on the air or come on the air. And we only have about 6 minutes left, so I'm going to bring this up to you. So far, YouTube hasn't been giving us too much shit lately for the stuff we're talking about, but I've already investigated another podcasting system, and I was given a name here this weekend of another one. And so what I'm going to do is during the week, I'm going to try booking it up and looking it up and see how it works. And then that way I can take and maybe do, if we might have to get my technical advisor to show me how it does it, but maybe we can do podcasting on both sites, YouTube and this site. So I will. And the reason I'm telling you that is in case YouTube decides to get testy and want to take us down, we can have an alternate site that you can immediately just switch to. And once I get that figured out, and I'll get you the details, and we'll go from there. Well, Scotty, we got about 4.5 minutes left. You got anything you want to?
Not to beat a dead horse, but I've been reading some stuff on that Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. I guess they had declassified or released like 1,800 pages of documents, and pointing fingers, and y'all need to look that up, because that is just such a shady bunch of shit. And I honestly believe that there's enough of the elite throughout the world that he had his finger on. That's why they offed him, or they made him disappear,
Suicided him,
and people aren't standing up to what's going on.
Yeah,
somebody has the files, and
he had that island, and the Clintons were known to visit it something like 17 times. And if I'm not mistaken, Obama had visited it. And some of the royal family,
Prince Andrew,
yeah, and others. He's the only one that they caught or are saying he did. And so they were going down there and partying hardy with underage teenagers. Let's just put it that way. And they were afraid that since he got busted, in order to keep from spilling the beans, they wouldn't take a chance to wait and see if he got convicted in his trial. They Arkansided him.
Well,
suicided him.
There's also all kinds of scuttlebutt that was going around, I don't know, about a year ago, or around the time that he died, that he had ties to various intelligence agencies, and he was actually more of an asset than any of these groups want to have anyone known. So he didn't. That was part of the conspiracy theory, that he didn't actually die because of his intricate workings of all these people. They made it look like he died, but he didn't really. And
well, that's entirely possible too.
And some of the articles that I've read have very vague references to people speaking about him long before he was ever on the national radar about, he's known in certain circles and in vague language like that. You know what I mean? Never coming right out and saying that he's like a CIA asset or what have you. But
well, whenever you see them hauling a body out from someplace, they very, I've never seen them exposing the face. It's always been covered up. But they made sure that the press got a look at his face. At least was on the body on that stretcher.
Yeah, and from what I understand, there was all kinds of parking garages you could have, gotten him into the back of Corner's van and
so. Okay, at that point, kids, it is 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock, and it's time for us to say goodbye. We will be here next week, even though no, that's not Super Bowl. Okay, we will be here next week. Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise, and hopefully I can have some information for you, and then also maybe get some rest between now and then. So good night, kids, and have fun and stay safe.
All right, good night.